Hello. Quick midweek video here. There's been a question or two about sourcing corrugated materials for builds. For me, one source is food packaging, well, food and gift packaging. So here I've got a bit of a Kit Kat box, and all you really need to do is remove the paper from one side to expose the corrugations underneath, like I've done here. Most packaging will have a shiny side, and which is printed, and then a plain side. I found it's easier to work with the plain side. The biggest challenge for removing the stuff is getting started. Now you can try a corner, it's not so easy, or you can start where it's already damaged or torn, as I'm doing here. Now what you're trying to do is just peel it off and see if you can get the paper to come off in a strip, which it will do sometimes, but it's not easy. If you're gentle, you can get strips to come off, like here. I mean, that's quite satisfying, but there is an easier way to do it than just sitting there picking away at a dry piece of cardboard. And that easier way is use a sponge or something just to dampen the paper. All you're trying to do is dampen the inner surface. You really don't want to get it too wet. I've probably got a bit wet here, but once the moisture gets in, I think it starts to affect the glue, and bingo. See? You get a much better strip. I find that no matter how careful you are, you do end up with little bits still sort of stuck on there that roughen up the surface. You can probably see it here. So that's when you come back in with your sponge, and you just very lightly stroke it across the top, and that will clean up the corrugations. But you need to be light. You can also use a sponge to start off an edge, like I did here. That works quite well, and as you can see, you expose the corrugations underneath quite easily and quite quickly. Now my sponge, the one I'm using here, has a smooth side and a rough side. This rough side here you can use to get an edge started by just dampening the edge. That will help it lift, and then you can just tear more strips off again, as you see here. So you just keep working away really. Be gentle, try not to hurry it, because you don't want to damage too much of the under corrugations, and don't get it too wet, because the wetter they are, the easier they are to flatten. But just keep working away, and eventually you'll end up with a sheet of corrugations. A bit like this one, really. You can see where I got a bit wet on this one, so some of the corrugations have been flattened. But with a bit of patience and being gentle, you can get yourself some useful materials to use in your builds, free of charge, just from some old trash like this thing that I was otherwise going to throw away. Cool. So let's have a look at what can be achieved with this stuff. With a bit of painting and a bit of imagination, you've got yourself rusty corrugated iron for your projects. Because let's face it, if it ain't rusty, it ain't Gaslands, is it? In a forthcoming video, I'll be using this stuff and showing you how I paint it, etc., to look like the rusty corrugated metal effect that you see here. But I hope you've enjoyed this video. I hope you found it useful. Thanks very much for watching, and I'll catch up with you again soon. Bye for now.